No. Hey everybody, it's Juli Pitra. It's time for my Thursday talk, whatever, to discuss Pitranomics, my 10-part strategy to grow, protect, and transfer wealth. First of all, I would like to apologize for just missing last week. It was kind of last minute. It was a rough couple of weeks, and I just needed a minute. And now I'm back, me and my new hair. So if I look a little different, that's why. Got some extra stuff here. For those that don't know me, I'm originally from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I am married. I've been married 27 years to a wonderful man named Juli Pitra. I have two pretty much 100% wonderful kids. I love them, but they're kids, they're grown. A little bit about me. I have an undergraduate degree in nuclear engineering. I've got an MBA in finance and operations, all of which prepared me, not really, to be a housewife for a long time before I decided at 50, hey, I want to do something else. So I'm a big fan of just believing you can do whatever you want. You can change whenever. It is never too late to change your goals. I changed my career from a stay-at-home mom. I became a realtor and real estate investor, and now coach and founder of Pitranomics, and try to dabble in a bunch of different things. Lately, life has been kind of kicking my butt, but I am ready to make stuff happen. And I am so pleased to reintroduce Pitranomics, because we do it every quarter, starting with the first strategy, which is where am I? You need to determine what are your end-of-life goals. And here to help me talk about goal setting is the wonderful Shelyna Tinglin, who's going to come on and spotlight with me. And then the second part, which we'll discuss next week, will be how to make sure you have the resources to accomplish those goals that you set to be so important. So let me introduce Shelyna. First of all, I love her. She's wonderful. And she hosts a yearly event about goal setting and vision board setting. So if you ever get a chance, Shelyna, share your information. I have really gotten a lot out of that. But first and foremost, to be successful in anything, you have to be able to articulate something within you that's strong enough to overcome the objections. So like I said, right now, life's kicking my butt. I still love what I do, but I'm not loving it now. It's kicking my butt. Thinking about quitting, but
See, I'm letting my hair down, right?
Sometimes let your hair down. Let your hair down.
Sometimes entrepreneurs,
I got my hair down.
Because boy, I tell you, it's about to get real out here.
Yeah, get real. If you need a little Vaseline on your face, take off your earrings, whatever it takes to really get into the mood, because this is the second time we're going through this in 2024. Let's get real with our end-of-life goals. So Shelyna, Miss Wonderful Realtor, Miss Wonderful Coach with credentials that are like this long on a scroll. Please step up to the plate and tell us a little bit about yourself. And thank you for coming.
Hey, my pleasure. Hi, Michelle. I was on here earlier just yelling at her. She was in her zone. I am Shelyna. I am a licensed real estate broker here in the state of Texas, associate broker. I also do coaching, mentoring. I train throughout the state of Texas. I train real estate professionals. And I also train on real estate designations. And so that includes GRI or Graduate Realtor Institute. I teach contracts, legal 1 and 2, the fun stuff. And I also enjoy speaking and hosting events, getting people in the same room to have conversations about growing, uplifting, empowerment. Rarely do I talk about motivation because I'll be honest, motivation sucks. If you're not internally driven to do something, you're not going to do it. And so I wrote a book called What They Don't Teach You in Real Estate School. The point of the book was exactly kind of what we're talking about. You have to have a plan. And a lot of times people go through these educational moments or opportunities and they don't have one. They go through the process just to get the license, and you're not being taught how to, number one, run a business, set goals, have intentions, how to be an entrepreneur, especially in the real estate world. And so I just have a strong passion for bringing people together, helping people grow, and having what I call the light bulb moment. So I just love it all.
Well, thank you very much. And I just realized that it is not live streaming to Facebook. So
you need me to do that all over again?
I don't know what we need to do. I know that at one point you were able to stream. So if anyone can help me stream this to Facebook, that's great. Stream to your page, because I'm just sitting here not being shared.
Is it already on your page?
No, it's not on my page.
I saw it earlier and it said streaming to Facebook.
Did it? Let me.
Yeah, at the very top, it said streaming to Facebook. It changed now. Now it says custom live streaming. But before you changed it, it said streaming to Facebook. Let me see if I can go find it.
Now, let me see if I can find myself too. Oh, there I am. I see it. Because I was like, where did we go? Okay, we're good. Sorry.
Yeah.
A little bit
I'll
of a
share it.
there.
I'll also share it on my page as well.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, great combo. All right. So you need me to go again? Hello, Facebook world. Hello, friends in Facebook.
Hello.
Social media world. Welcome, welcome.
We're starting. Welcome, welcome. Sound a little bit like sprinkle, sprinkle. For those that know who that lady is and heard a few of her TikToks. So I am going to get the presentation started.
Awesome. And I know Julie knows this, but to those friends out there who know me, yes, I am on some of your on one of your TREC committees. I'm on the Education Standards Advisory Committee, and no, I will not be talking about National Association of Realtors, their lawsuit, and any conclusions from that. Thank you in advance for your questions in the comments, but we won't be talking about that. I'm also on your Collin County Board of Directors, and I am your chair for professional development and education. And so I kind of, I keep my hands in a lot of fires so that I can stay up to date on what's going on. So I'm excited to have this conversation.
Awesome. Okay, I believe I am sharing. I just love trying to get used to
almost.
Almost? I'm not sharing?
It's just a blank screen. While we're waiting, Facebook world, what you got? You got questions for us?
Why is this not working? Share. Oh my God, what if this doesn't work? It says you're sharing screen. Okay, we just have all kinds of stuff going on. Resume share.
It says you started sharing, but the screen is black. So why don't you read us what was on the first screen, and we can work from there while you
Well, the first thing was a wonderful picture that has the introduction to this presentation. Where am I? Setting the goalpost, and I am going to be so mad. You know what I'm going to do?
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to open this up in what do you call it? I don't freaking know. Okay, we're gonna just
something on your screen right now. It's the header screen, and it's gone. That's okay. We're gonna work through this.
We're gonna work through this. Okay. I wonder why. Hold on. Nope. So anyway, we're just gonna get started.
Yeah, let's go.
Setting the goalpost. I have all these wonderful pictures about talking. Can you see anything? Because I'm stopping the sharing. Nope, so we'll just stop it. Anyway, so let's talk about that. we have the analogy of making a field goal, and we're comparing that to setting your EOLs.
Okay.
And the EOLs are the end of life goals. And the reason why that works so specifically is because shooting a field goal is a very concerted effort of a lot of resources to accomplish a goal that's been carefully thought out, that's been planned, that is consistent with what you want to accomplish in the overall game.
Right.
Oh, look at that. Hannah's got it shared. I don't know why I couldn't share. So look, there's my pretty picture. Now, for those of you that not heard, Pitranomics has 10 strategies that you go through iteratively, and we're going to revisit the first one, which is where am I? Like I said before, it's all about understanding what your goals are and what your resources you have allocated to accomplish those goals. So thank you for providing the visual, Hannah. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to the next slide. And we changed from Canva to PowerPoint, so we're going to have some hiccups.
No worries.
So again, why do you compare EOLs to field goals? Because you know what? Go to the next slide, please. In the whole scheme of life, kicking a field goal in American football is like representation of when we accomplish our goal of our most important objectives. All of those objectives that you have come together and you have success. Next slide, please, Hannah. You have success and it's time to celebrate. Yay, and the crowd goes wild. One great thing about NFL field goals, look at the rates of success over the past few years. They're in the 80s. Now, wouldn't it be great to have that same success percentage in life? Wouldn't it be great if you were guaranteed to knock it out of the park 86% of the time? How motivated would you be if that was your guarantee? Well, you know what? The reason why people are able to knock it out of the field goal or knock it through the gridiron or knock it, I don't know my football, whatever. Shelyna, you take it from there.
Yes.
It's
So
because
it's
they trained for it. They prepared for it.
It's field goal, Julie. It's called the field goal.
Field goal.
The goalpost. I'm sorry. It's the goalpost.
I knew it was something like that. It was the goalpost. So talk to us about that, Shelyna. What helps, in your opinion, maximize the success level of a goal?
Yeah. So going back to that football analogy, I love football. And one of the things that we understand about football is that it's not a one-person show. What that means is one person cannot play offense, defense, snap the ball, quarterback, running back, defensive end, and kicker. You are not doing all of that by yourself. It is a team effort. And the goal is to score as many points as possible, more than your opponent. How we relate that into our entrepreneur world is we get out here on the field and we think we have to do it alone. Some cases we decide we're going to do it alone. I don't want anybody telling me how to do it. I'm going to figure this out by myself. I don't need people, but yet not we're trying to run up the score. So if we use that same football analogy, you need people in your corner. You need people who you can, number one, communicate with, because what do you hear the quarterback doing? He's running the play before the snapper gets him the ball. And those people around him are hearing that leadership. They're hearing him, or they're seeing the hand signals that he's using, and they know, cool, our leader has a plan. Here's what the plan is. We're going to go run the play. So when we get into the entrepreneurship scale, I don't have money for a team. It is much more expensive to try to run a business without the proper support. If you don't believe me, try having an LLC and not paying taxes on it. Try having a business period and not paying business taxes. So there are people that you can have in your corner that you're not necessarily paying thousands of dollars. So we're not asking you to pay a football salary to them, but we're saying when you start creating goals, when you start planning, sometimes we have to get out of the mindset that says, I can do this by myself. I don't need anybody else. I understand. I've been here. I've done it. You're not going to be able to sustain that by yourself. If a football player gets hit enough times, you will get a concussion, you can break a bone, you can end your career. And that's exactly what it's like if you try to go out here and do this by
Do it by
yourself and
yourself.
assume, I don't need people. I got this.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Next slide, please, Hannah. And I don't know why Hannah can show it and I can't.
Ah, thank you, Hannah. Hannah's got
Thank
the
you, Hannah. And by the way, Shamir's here. She's not feeling well, but she's in
Oh,
it.
hey,
So thank
Shelyna.
you. So let's talk about the 5 steps to set your EOLs up. We're going to make your goalpost just there. So imagine your last day on earth. That's what that LDOE, your last day on earth is today, right? Let's start thinking about, do you have any regrets? And the reason why this is one of the bases of Pitranomics. You don't want to live a life of regrets. You want to have accomplished what you set out to do in this life. Because my mother passed at 57, way too early. I'm older than 57 now, and she had to face leaving earlier than where I am right now.
Right.
And I remember very clearly the day that she accepted. She like found acceptance that death was coming way sooner than she wanted, even sooner than the doctor said that she had. It was coming, and she told me, I don't want to die. I don't want to go, but I have no regrets. And to me, I think about that daily. I think about that a few times a day. What is it like to be on the precipice and to be able to say, I have no regrets? I've heard from many people, you go into a nursing home, you deal with older people, you deal with younger people. They all have all these strong regrets that I wish I had, I wish I had. She said, I don't have any. What she meant, what she needed in her life to have purpose, she did. I don't think it gets better than that. So when you think about what you want to accomplish in life, for Pitranomics' sake, let's throw a bunch of stuff on the board. Let's look, pie in the sky type of activity. Let's figure out what could you possibly want to accomplish. Throw it all up there because we're going to distill it down into what's important. And then after you throw everything up on the board, then you distill it down based on common values. And you really only need 3 EOLs. You have more than that, you don't have end of life goals. You have long-term goals. We're talking about the stuff, if you're looking at the timeline and death is right there, you're like, I've checked my boxes. So keep going, Hannah, with the next slide. And then after you've distilled them down to your max 3 end of life goals, I say 3 to 5, but 3, then what you want to do is fine tune those goals and commit to them. And there's one strategy called SMART. There are others, but we're going to talk about the SMART one because you want to make sure that you have finely tuned that goal, that you understand what you need to accomplish, you understand what you need to accomplish so that you have the highest rate of success, kind of like all the effort and whatever people put into when they're putting it up through the field goal. Shelyna, what do you think?
I as you were talking, I kind of listened to where I see people say, before I leave this earth, I want to do X, Y, and Z, not realizing that leaving this earth could be in the next 20 minutes. So when I'm looking at goals, I'm looking at do it now.
Do it now.
Why are we waiting for some magical age, some mythological date to happen? If it's something, I was teaching a class this morning, and actually I was speaking this morning, and what we were talking about was we hold on to these fears of not being able to do something because of our own self-doubts or beliefs that we're not good enough. We need someone to affirm us, or I can't hit that goal because someone hasn't given me permission to, and you already have what you need. The problem is we don't step into it. So whether the EOL is today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's 3 years down the road, living with no regret is you saying, hey, listen, I put this post up the other day. Either I'm going to win or I'm going to learn. I can't have a regret because I did the action that I did or didn't do, but I learned something. And what I'm learning about the EOLs and what I'm learning about at the end of the day, do whatever it is I have committed to, because I am the one that's creating this life that I desire. I can't live by someone else's rules on what they expect me to do. Oh, you have to do this. You should dress a certain way. You should look a certain way. If you decide to run for mayor, run. If you decide to run a 5K, run. If you decide to start a business, start it. If you decide to go back to corporate America, do it. But at the end of the day, you cannot leave here, or you cannot sit and mope about what didn't happen. You just got to go and do it and say, I tried that, I tried that, I tried that. Either it worked or this is what I learned because of it.
Exactly. And you know what? I just want to take this time to point out that my wonderful husband is running the Ironman in just over 2 weeks.
That
He's
is
committed
insane.
to some major training. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little skeptical about that goal. I was like, maybe you should have done that 20 years ago. But
Yeah.
it's never too late. It's never too late. I am so impressed with him. I will be there cheering at the finish line when my
He's
husband
run it before, right?
he ran the half Ironman.
Ah, wow. That's huge.
Yeah. And so the full one. And I don't know, I think he's going to deserve cake and pastries and all that stuff when he gets done. Hannah, take it to the next page. But it's just, that's an amazing goal, and I'm so proud of it.
That's
But
awesome.
if you were to imagine, oh my God, you know without a doubt that today is your last day on earth. Next part, Hannah. If you know for sure, you know that forever is not promised. So if you knew that your forever ended tomorrow, what changes are you making today? What changes are you making today? What are you doing? You're out of time. What's important? What are you going to spend your last day on earth doing? And what will you regret not having accomplished? So one of the things I don't ever want to go to my grave regretting is that people I love didn't know that I love them. I want them to know. I want them to know I care. And I have the blessing of being loved. And the funny thing about it, I know I'm a lot in this package. It's not like I don't know that.
I love it.
As one of my friends said, I should probably come with a warning label.
I love it. I
Not
love
on
it.
Tuesday or something like that. But I am confident in the fact that I am loved and I do love. And that was a big part of my purpose. That's where I want to be. Now, next slide, please, Hannah. One of the reasons what regrets are caused by are failures. And we're going to talk about that. Failure of pursuing one's passions, right? Failure of placing life before work. Failure of maintaining meaningful relationships. Failure of expressing your true feelings. I don't feel diminished if I tell people, hey, I care about you, or hey, my feelings were hurt, or hey, no, I don't care about that. I said it and I own it. Failure to live without fear of judgment. What, Shelyna, you were just saying, don't be worried about what other people were thinking of you. They're not living your life, right? And here's one where I need to spend a little more time of. Failure to take care of your health. Now, my husband is doing this Ironman. I got to make sure I have energy just to make it from the starting line to the finish line and have some breath to yell, right? Failure of traveling the world and exploring the world. This world is huger than where we grew up. Get out there and learn about some people and be more of the person you could be because you've done that. Failure to be present in the moment. And this is a big one, especially like as a parent. How many times are we so worried about the future or stressing about the past that we fail to enjoy our children in the moment that they're 1.5 years old and 2.5 years old and learning how to climb a tree or falling or saying, look, mom, how many of us get so tired? We're so tired with all that other stuff. It doesn't matter that we aren't there in the moment with the people that we care about. Failure to take risks. Now, I have heard this a lot lately. Why would you try that? Why would you do that? You know, because I thought I could, and I'm still not sure I can't. But man, my behindy is getting kicked in the process. And then the failure to embrace one's truth. I want to tell a little story. I learned this early. When I was in high school, I was not popular. I was not well liked. I was not appreciated. And I tried so hard to fit in. I tried so hard to be the popular person. I tried so hard to do what I thought I saw the other people doing that made them popular, and they had all this acceptance and adulation, and I had none of it. And that's kind of a blessing that that's what I had, because what I learned was like, no matter what I do, I am not going to be accepted by these people. They aren't going to give me the adulation that I thought the wonderful person that I was deserved. So go ahead and do whatever I wanted. Don't worry about anybody else. The fact that I learned that lesson so completely was painful, but a beautiful lesson.
Right.
Because I don't let opinions mess with me. Now, not that I don't seek advice and judgment, but some random person's opinion that's not living their life, that's not pushing the boundaries, it's not living in joy, living in their truth. I can't let that stop me. But what do you think? What do you think about that?
I think something what you just said, sometimes the judgment comes from within our own house sometimes. I think some people are afraid that the people closest to them will judge them. They sometimes have insecurities in comparison to the people they don't know. So more of the distant people, the ones they see on social media, that's where they compare their insecurities. But they're afraid to fail because, maybe, my mom said I would never be able to do this. And so if I take that risk and I go out there and I do it and I fail, I'm just living up to exactly what she said I wouldn't be able to do. Or maybe it's, my spouse or my sibling or this person told me that wasn't safe. And so I value that opinion more than I value the opportunity to step out there and actually do something. Because when it comes to people we don't know, sometimes we might be like, I don't care what that person thinks, but let it be a friend or somebody close to us. Now it hits home a little bit harder. And it's those things. I remember a couple of years ago, I hosted an event called letting go of your past so that you can have a productive future. And the whole point of that was looking back at these things. We look back on these things that we either didn't do or the things that we messed up on that may have caused trauma, that may have caused mental, emotional issues. And a lot of people don't realize that stress causes health issues. So a lot of these things we're stressing about goes right to number 6. You're not taking care of your health. And you don't even realize it. You may think it's because I'm not eating healthy. No, it's because you're stressing out about the judgment from somebody who lives in your house. So sometimes we have to stop. We have to truly, embrace or accept and admit that we're dealing with this thing that we're dealing with. And then you got to move on. How long are you going to stay on this thing of, oh man, I should have ran the half marathon? You didn't. Let it go. There's another one coming.
There's something else to challenge you and to take a risk on. And
yeah, there's another one coming.
Yeah, let that one go. I mean,
and you know what, Julie? If the next one doesn't come, here's a great thing about us as people. Go create one. Go create a race. Go connect with your city and say, I want to do a 5K. How do I make it happen? There, you can have reasons or results, AKA you can get it done or you can have excuses on why you can't.
That is true. That is true. And so that fear of all of these thoughts and opinions, the leading cause of regret is fear. It's go to the next page. I mean, there are many different types of fear. We're going to focus on a couple here. We're going to focus on fear of failure. And that's meaning something to me right now, because nobody wants to fail. And if you play it safe, you don't. But if you play it safe, you don't excel. So which is it? Is it the fear of failure that's going to guide you, or the desire to excel? And you're going to attempt to excel without having fallen flat on your face a few times and getting right back up and entering the fray again.
Well, Julie, failure can be being comfortable. So you're comfortable in that little bubble and you don't do anything to challenge yourself. That could become part of your story that you equate to failure.
Could be, could be, could be. Another thing I think people are afraid of is self-reflection. They don't like to really look at themselves. And so they're living this delusion of a life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Now, and there are people that could look at me now and say I'm living a delusion, that I
mm-hmm.
need to, get real. And I'll listen because I don't know everything about everything. I know a lot about a little, but there's a whole lot I know little about.
Right.
So I like to listen, but I do like to take the time to reflect, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my desires? What are my hopes? What are my dreams? What drives me? Who am I? Because I am not an average person. That person doesn't exist. I'm a unique person. And I need to be true to that unique personage. Just like you, Shelyna, need to be unique, true to your uniqueness. And everybody else, Shamir, be true to who you are. But first, you got to know who that is.
Yeah, I want to give you a juxtaposition for that self-reflection because on the opposite side of that,
Mm-hmm.
we judge ourselves too harshly. And we look at something, oh man, how could I do that? Man, I can't believe I didn't do that. We can be our own worst advocate in terms of how we judge. I mean, sometimes we're afraid of how other people are going to judge, but we're worse on ourselves sometimes than other people are. And we create these stories in our head that this is what people are going to say. Failure looks different for everybody. Somebody might say they failed because they didn't get accepted into the college they wanted. And somebody else may say they failed because they didn't do this grandiose thing of traveling. It looks different for everyone. And I think as we're self-reflecting, we have to come to terms with what I'm looking for is going to be different from what Julie wants, from what Michelle wants, from what Hannah wants, but still embracing the fact that we cannot overjudge and we cannot simplify how we deal with self-reflection.
Yeah, comparing yourself to others can really kill your true look at yourself. So you got to stop doing that. And another fear is of the unknown. There are some people that are just paralyzed by what they don't know. And then other people who are energized. I
Mm-hmm.
love stuff I don't know. The shiny new things I don't know are constantly capturing my attention. I want to know that. I want to know that. I want to try that. But there have been times I've been like, ooh, I don't know about that. Ooh, that looks a little scary. And one of those areas that paralyzes me is the water. I don't
Mm-hmm.
swim. I don't float. If I were to land in a body of water, that's almost assuredly my death because I'm going to panic and I'm going to sink, and I'll be very unhappy about that. But the water freaks me out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I know why, but I don't know really why I'm past it. So maybe that's some time for more self-reflection. But another big fear is of social censure and judgment. So back to what you were saying on that, sometimes we're our own worst advocates or our own worst critic is because we don't want our circle to look down at us or to censure us. And I have to say, it comes in many, many different forms.
Yeah.
So like the fact that I have these braids in my hair, I remember back in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
this would have been something that probably made me not able to get a job.
Mm.
It's crazy to think about. Um, and the only people that I knew that had these types of styles were really far outliers in life. They weren't considered acceptable to the great wad. And it was almost, if you weren't acceptable to the majority, you were a nothing. And you
Right.
had to be able to get past that. I don't need to be acceptable to the majority. I
Mm-hmm.
need to be acceptable to the people who see my value. So start there. If you see my value, then we can keep hanging. But if
Yeah.
you don't, got to put that repellent on the opinion of society and your peers and comparing yourself to social media and even sometimes your family, because your family's going to want to conform be to a vision that is not yours.
Right. Conformity in the social realm can be very crippling because we believe that we all have to behave a certain way, walk and talk a certain way, and that diminishes our creativity. And that sometimes can lead us into the fear of being able to step into something new. Oh, well, what if they judge me? Or what if people say something about me? If they're going to talk, they're going to talk. I mean, people talk about you all the time. It's how you respond to that. You can either choose to withdraw and believe the false lies that are imposed upon your name, or you can say, I know who I am, so baby, keep talking, because that's just helping my algorithm. So go ahead and put my name out there.
You are making my
Put it out
algorithm
there.
go stronger, but
Put my
exactly.
name in the atmosphere. That means that something's going to come back to me. So it's how you look at your perspective on it. And perspective is a big deal because your perspective could be one that destroys any hope in your future and you fall into this black hole of fear, or your perspective could be the one where people want to be around you because your vision and your thought process is so different. How can you have such a positive attitude when you're in the middle of this big legal shift with real estate? Easy, because my perspective about serving my clients has not changed.
Changed.
So because my perspective and what true story, I went to a listing appointment yesterday. The conversation came up and he was so casual. He said, well, yeah, I saw this thing on the news. Okay, yes, let's talk about that. Let's address it. And then I broke it down and explained it to him. Do you have any questions in 30 seconds or less? No. Where do we sign? My vision and my responsibility and what I offer has not changed.
Changed.
I'm here to give a service and I'm going to give the best service that I could possibly give. But if my focus was on treating someone like a dollar sign, then I'd be in panic mode. I'd be like those people on social media talking, oh, what are we going to do? I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing and we'll see how it plays out. So it's your perspective that deals with the conformity of the social censure and judgment.
And one more thing, you have to understand the value you bring to the world. It's not going to be what everybody else has.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be what everybody else has. And remember that in relationships as well. I remember once when I was in college, and my roommate was like, "Oh, I don't have a boyfriend like my other boyfriends had." I don't remember the story, but she tells me this often enough. She said that I asked her, "Which of those boyfriends do you want?" And she was like, "None of them." I was like, "Then why are you concerned that they have them? You don't want them. You want a boyfriend. You don't want that boyfriend. You want the boyfriend you haven't seen yet, that hasn't presented himself, because he's not ready.
Right.
And you're not ready. I wasn't ready for sure in college. There was a great guy that I was attached to, but I was not ready to partner with him. And so, let that go. And the last fear, which oddly enough, this is very strong, is the fear of ridicule or loss of standing.
Oh, that's a big one. I'm a victim of that.
That's a big one. You want people to think you're great. You don't want them to talk about you and laugh at you and try to make you feel small. But here's the thing. Their ridicule only matters, what was it? If their approval matters, if their judgment matters. I try very hard not to be concerned with the opinions of people who I don't think are worth much. And I don't mean they're not worth much in the world. They're just not worth much to me. So I'm not too
Julie is so subtle with it. Julie is like, thank you for your opinion, darling, but you're just not important enough to me to care.
Yeah. Not trying to listen to you, right? And if someone I cares about offers an opinion, and I'm like, well, okay, you got to give me some basis. I'll to you, but let's put it on a platform so I can understand the relevance to me. And if I can't, I'll be like, well, I thank you for your caring. And I expect y'all to do the same. I don't expect I say is, oh my God, let's follow the teachings of Julie. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm giving you my perspective. If you value that, take it and go with it, work it into whatever it is you
Yeah.
want to do. If you don't value it, just tell me to shut up because I will go away and not bother you with my opinion if it doesn't mean anything to you.
Right, right. That's so
But the
true.
thing about it, don't let fear
Yeah.
paralyze your dreams.
Mm-hmm. And that
All
that
of these
standing
fears,
part,
hmm,
that's good. That loss of standing
that
part
loss of standing.
is good because I think a lot of times, and I mentioned I've been guilty of this. My head is down and I'm literally like, there's been times that you've reached out to me and say, hey, I'm just trying to make sure you still here because I've been going and going and you'll reach out and I'm like, oh, I'm on a plane headed this way or I'm headed back this way. And so sometimes we get to a point where we get so lost in the minutia of what's happening. Like literally
Yes.
just got off a plane on Monday, getting ready to hop back on another one next week, that we fear we're going to lose the position we held in the lives of those people. And sometimes we got to take a step back and say, hey, listen, if I value that relationship, I'm gonna pick up like I never left off. Julie can call me and it's like, I'm picking up like I never left off. It could be 2 weeks. And she's like, I hope you're taking care of yourself. And I'm like, I wasn't. Thank you, Julie, for that reminder, because I was about to stress out. And then I might turn
I
around and
feel like you're not taking care of yourself.
listen, and then I'll be like, Julie, I hope you're using Shelyna words today. Because I don't want somebody to walk away and feel like, did I just get cursed out by Julie? You probably did and didn't realize.
Well, true
Time
story,
to
true
step back.
story. I am in the practice of using Shelyna words because I did send out an email one day and copied her on it, and it was
Oh,
not pleasant. It was full of
the
venom
thing.
I
Yeah.
can really do when I'm angry. It just flows from the fingers when I'm like that. And she called me and she was like, "Ooh, let's repackage those
I think I
feelings."
needed 24 hours after
Yeah,
reading
you
it.
had
I was
to
like, give
process
me a day.
the nastiness of that first to be like, "Ooh." And then she helped me kind of see how those words impacted somebody else because I was thinking they would impact that person like I would receive them.
Right,
Like
right.
another friend has pointed out, I love that strong criticism delivered with love. Strong, strong, strong criticism. I don't like condescension and I don't like disrespect. Don't like those at all. But if you've got some serious stuff to say, my mother was one of my strongest critics, and
Mhm.
her criticisms have been valuable.
Yeah.
But not everybody wants that.
Yeah, and if some people don't understand, like coming from the educational world, I understand that some of those learning modalities that they had as students, they grow up with as adults, and I've had to deal with some of those where
Mhm.
I had to, bring myself back and say what that person just said was disrespectful, and they don't realize it. So let's have a conversation about why what you just said is unacceptable when saying it to me. When saying it to someone else, they might
Might
accept
be
it.
okay. Yeah.
But again, if you value relationships, then you value the fact that, hey, we all go through something. You cannot go through it alone. And I love that Julie CC'd me on that email because she could have been like, I don't care. This is who I am and how I'm going to walk. And if you don't like it, there's some rocks outside you could kick with no socks on, by the way, and no lotion on your feet. Make it crusty and
Oh,
dusty.
not the no lotion. So the
No, because then
foot rock
it
kicking.
the
Okay,
rocks.
got it. That's a
It's
whole visual now.
understanding.
That's I can see the feet splitting.
But it's that moment of understanding that, hey, you know what? Something had to click and trigger in her mind to say, let me take a step back real quick. And sometimes we have to take a step back. We have to, for me, we talked about that growing up piece. I
Mhm.
kind of grew up with this thought process of wanting to make other people happy at the expense of my own peace, at the expense of my own happiness, making sure that someone else is okay, that someone else is not suffering. But in the meantime, I'm suffering. In the
Yep.
meantime, I'm wearing a smile to hide from the things that are
While
happening.
drowning and yeah, you've done that a lot.
You don't have those people. If you
Yeah.
don't have those people who understand that we didn't lose the standing, we just lost the communication. And communication is the thing that can bring people back together. And then there are some times where I've told people this before. If you're surrounded by those negative, woe is me, it's the end of the world, and they have no intentions of changing, we gotta, hey, kumbaya, I'll pray for you. Here we go with that, but you have a good day. And sometimes you got to make that separation or it will affect you.
Exactly, exactly. I believe that. And next slide, please, Hannah. One of the things that when you're trying to set up your, Hannah, you there? Can you go to the next slide? So, you know, if forever ends tomorrow, what are the things you're throwing on the board to see what you're thinking about? You know, do you want to go on a cruise, right? Do you want to run a marathon, an Ironman like my husband? Do you want to learn a new language? Do you want to reconnect with old friends? Do you want to go rock climbing? Do you want to travel around the world? Do you want to go on exotic vacations? Put it all out there. Do you want to change the career? And this last one that showed up, do you want to journal? I want y'all to understand Pitranomics is the journaling. It's what I'm leaving from my children. They will hear these opinions and they will have them hopefully when I'm gone.
Oh, that's good.
Something
I'm gonna start
they
leaving
can turn back to. Yeah, something they can turn back to. What did my mother think? Here it is. Here are her words, right? And so I think it's important to, when you're trying to come what you want your life goals to be, just throw it all up there. Aim high, you know, completely unrealistic pie in the sky type activities, because you never know what the yearnings of your heart are going to reveal about your true values. You don't know. Throw it up there. And let's see. The important thing is you got to narrow it down to 3. You got to distill it down to 3. And it was my hope, next slide, Hannah. It was my hope I'd be able to dynamically do all this when we did the results of the poll. Let me see if I can. Y'all, there are 8 people and only 4 people have participated in my poll.
Let me go to the poll. I'm sorry.
Let's get that poll. Whoever hasn't, let's participate so I can get all the results. But anyway, while you're talking about what it is you might want to accomplish, dream big. Remember, this is to guide you for the rest of your life. Dream big. Maybe you want to visit 50 countries. I don't know. Why do you want to visit 50 countries? Maybe you've identified 50 countries. You want to sample the food. You want to dance with the people who live there. You want to travel their topography. You want to go into their buildings, whatever it is. If that's a major experience you want to have in life, if you want to travel to 50 countries, it's going to take a lot of planning and resources and energy to get that done. And if you want to say, I want to do 50 countries before I die, and you're my age, man, you better get started. If you're 20, maybe you can be a little more leisurely about it. But it's just, you got to start planning it. So we'll come back to these 3 when the poll's finished, because everybody completed it.
I just did mine.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. We'll go to the next slide, please, Hannah. Because once you get to the 3, once you're trying to narrow down the ones that you have, then you have to really dissect them. And the SMART platform, the SMART strategy is really, really good, because a goal, in order to increase the likelihood of success, it has to be specific. Vague goals are rarely accomplished, if ever. It has to be measurable, because you have to be able to say, yes, it was accomplished. No, it wasn't. These are the metrics by which I know, and these are the metrics by which I know it was not. And it has to be achievable. So when you look at yourself, if I were to say, I want to play in the NBA for the Los Angeles Lakers, that probably is not going to be achievable. First, I'm not a man. I'm not over 6 feet.
Hey, I'm at the church. Is there here for the electrician?
Okay, all right. And the next thing is, it needs to be relevant for you. So even though it's a pie in the sky type of deal, it has to be consistent with your underlying values, that you're willing to commit to it. And you have to have some kind of time limit on it, because it can't be just open-ended with no particular finishing date in sight, because how will you know that you've accomplished it? So when you go back to putting that, accomplishing a field goal, scoring a field goal, football analogy, not my strong suit, I like them. So it's very specific. It's this oddly shaped ball you're putting through a very specific area. You know when it's not going through, you know when it does go through. And you can measure, for example, how many times you do it. You can also measure all the preparation you've gone through. Do you practice 1,000 kicks a week? I don't know what their regimen is. Do you stay in shape? Do you properly, do you muscles, all the things it's going to take you to get that goal that you can measure yes or no, that you can track over a longer period, yes or no, that you've done them. That helps get you closer, because I can guarantee the person who's kicking the ball has logged some hours. The person who is, what's the word, snapping the ball to the kicker has logged some hours. All those people on the offensive and the defensive lines have logged some hours and some effort and some sweat, blood, and tears in getting good at their task to help accomplish this goal. And back to the field goal metaphor, it's relevant because it's scoring points, and you need points to win. And if you don't score points, you don't win. So this is very consistent. And the one thing I love about a field goal as a touchdown, you can take an hour for a touchdown. Go back, please, Hannah. But you don't have that much time to take care of a field goal. But we'll go to this one. Go back to this chart. What I love about this next chart, if you'll show it, Hannah, is that it's a chart that shows the ratio of success of field goals versus attempts by business. So this is how impactful putting yourself in the best position for accomplishing your goal is. And that's what Pitranomics is all about, positioning you to accomplish that goal with the greatest level of success. Because if you're positioned well, if you're less than 20 feet, you have basically 100% chance of getting that ball through the goalpost. But if you're way out, 65, almost 70 feet away, the likelihood diminishes greatly. So you want to put yourself in the best position. You want to make sure that you have your resources. When we talk about the Pitranomics goals, strategies, you're establishing your goal, but you're making sure that you have the resources. In the lifeboat strategy, that's who's in your lifeboat. Are they helping you to paddle? Or are they poking holes in your lifeboat and causing you to sink? You need to be aware of who is on your team, who is in your inner circle. You need to be aware of who's giving you advice that you can listen to. All of it is structured around making sure you're in the best position to get 100% success. And although I don't have evidence to the contrary, I would imagine that the people who got 100% of the goals were those who made sure they were in the best position. And the closer to the goal, the better the chance of making the field goal or the touchdown line. And it is the job of the whole team, not just one, to get you there. Not just one. It's not a singular activity.
That's right.
We can go to the next slide, because this is it. This is it, guys. Set your goalposts. Decide what you're trying to accomplish, and then knock it clean through the uprights. Knock it through. At the end of your life, if you can be like the great Jacqueline Tucker, that's my mother, and be able to say, when death is knocking at your door ready to take you, that you had no regrets, then that is a successful life in my eyes. And I hope it's a successful life in yours. Go ahead and take the sharing off. Let's see if we have
before you take that off, I just want to say, to add to what Julie said, if we're in that football analogy, they get 4 attempts. They get 4 attempts to score a touchdown, which is worth more than a field goal. Then they score the touchdown, they get the extra point. They can't score the touchdown, they go for the 3. The point is, when you set the goal, go for it. If it doesn't work the first time, does not mean that you have failed. It might mean you need to go back and adjust something. Or maybe it means you didn't have the right people that you needed with you at that time. So go back and do it again. That doesn't mean
with the right team.
They
Yes.
get 4 attempts to do it. And at that 3rd attempt, if they're not close enough to the goal, they'll kick a field goal, which is 3 points. So they still get something. So even if you feel like, hey, I did it the first time, I'm going to quit. No, that's not the time to quit. I did it a second time. That's not when you quit. You quit when you have met the end and you have gone off to glory. That's my version of when it's time to
When
stop.
it's time.
Or then you keep going. You do not stop. There's not a single football team out there that quits except the Cowboys. There's not a single football team that quits. I'm starting trouble this late at night.
You know what? You aren't going to get any fights out of me, but I don't know who's going to come for you. Like, this is Cowboy Nation.
I know they are. I know
where
they
you
are.
are,
Look.
where
Well, I
you
appreciate you,
are.
Julie. This has been phenomenal. And I wonder if does anybody have any questions in the chat? I know I've been on my page, so let me see if anyone has any questions. Any guests on here with us? Thoughts? What do you have?
Take your mic off and let's have a few minutes of interaction because Shelyna's going to have to go and I'll stay a few minutes. She said she had a hard stop at 6, but she meant 7. She about scared.
Yes, that's how my day has been going. And Julie followed it up with the message. I hope you are taking care of your health because she already knew the fact that I said 6 and not 7. My head was already on the road because I got to hit the highway and go meet a client. So let me see if I have any questions. No questions, but Julie, anybody on here have anything? I know y'all can't be sitting here this long and I have any questions, any thoughts that you want to share.
Come on, y'all.
Michelle, what you thinking? What's your thoughts?
Hold on, y'all. Let me take care of this.
Okay. She was taking care of a call.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. Evan, I know you. I see you there. I haven't heard your voice tonight. What's going on? And Jimmy, feel free to say something. I see you there.
Look, I got 3 minutes with y'all. Let's make it good.
I'm
Come
sorry,
on.
y'all. I got 3 jobs and that was one of them.
That's okay.
We understand.
So what was the question?
That's a
Any
good question.
comments about what we've talked
Yes.
about? Anything?
No, I just have one quick comment. And so when you guys were talking about goal setting, and I do a lot of goal setting and I follow the book, The 12-Week Year. So it helps you break down those long range goals into 12-week goals so that by the time you get to the end of the year, you will have made small steps to get to where you want to be.
That's good. Love that
Yeah.
book.
I like that book too. And it's important to remember almost any strategy that gets you where you're supposed to be is a good one. Right.
Mhm.
And what I like about the 12-week, hold on, the 12, I can't say that.
12-week year.
Thank you. The 12-week year is that it helps take out the fluff. To me, it's marshaling those resources that you have most optimally. And one of the things that happens, have you ever met somebody that spends all of their time doing something that is not consistent with what they've told you is what they want to accomplish? And you're sitting there like, what you doing? It doesn't mean that's an activity that's not useful, but stay mindful that the activity that you're engaging in repeatedly and often is getting you further down the path that you want to go. And if it's not, it's time to step back and figure out why that's taking up so much of your time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that book. There are a lot of great books out there. In fact, there's one, I can't think of the name of it right now. Good golly. Atlas Shrugged. I don't know how many people of you have heard of that book, but the whole thing that it espouses is that there's a form of selfishness that is the noblest form of humanity. And this whole teaching is objectivism. It is not necessary to want to or need to immolate yourself for the greater good. You as a person, you're valuable. What do you want? What do you want to accomplish? What are your strengths? How does honing those strengths benefit the world? How does being the best that you can be benefit the world? Don't diminish yourself to fit in with the world. Be the best you are so you can bless the world. And I read that book maybe 35 years ago. It's been extremely meaningful to me. There are all kinds of books out there to help sort of hone your focus on what it is you want to do.
Good.
So, and I know, Shelyna, you got to run.
Yeah, gotta hit
And
the car.
I always enjoy having you. Thank you, thank you, thank
It is
you.
my pleasure. This has been awesome. We got to do this more often.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Thank you, Julie, and it was good seeing everyone. I appreciate the conversations, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. David, what's going on, David? David, you was hiding behind that camera. Good to see you, friend. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Hearts, hearts, hearts.
Yes.
Hearts, hearts,
Hearts.
hearts.
All right, I will see y'all later. Look at that.
Okay.
There you go, David.
There you go. And I'll stay on to see if anybody else has anything to say. But thank you, Shelyna, for the
You're
time, and you have a
welcome.
good
Feel better,
evening.
Shamir.
Be
Yes,
safe.
you are welcome.
Okay. So is there, before we sign off, is there anything anybody else would like to chime in about, or?
Hi, Julie. What's the name of the book you guys mentioned? The 12 what?
The 12-week year, is that right? It's a 12-week year. Let me see.
Okay, thanks.
I have it. If you want, I can if you haven't found it yet, I can look it up and send it to you. So anyway, I hope this was valuable to y'all. I hope something that you didn't have before came to you during this. I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. We're going to talk about how we get your resources of money, energy, and time honed to meet your end of life goals. And I hope you guys have a great week. Keep some positive thoughts for me, because my tough past 2 weeks are still going forward. So I'm going to need your good wishes. And if y'all need ever encouragement or good wishes, or, just a cup of coffee or me tea and we vent, let me know. I've enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next week. Mwah, mwah. Take care.
Awesome.